Good evening, and thank you for joining me. This is the documentary of a long and strange, unusual journey. It spanned just over 2 years. This is the story and the research of alchemy, the great work, the magnum opus, the search for red mercury, the philosopher's stone, the transmutation of everyday metal into gold, the transmutation of the inner spirit into perfection, longevity, and ultimately, maybe immortality. We began our journey by traveling to the back of an old Victorian graveyard, past the graves and into the backwoods. This is where we obtained a soil sample that will be used as prima materia. It's the primitive formless base of all matter, similar to the original chaos. And for many of the steps of the transmutation process, we'll be using the alchemy furnace. This furnace ultimately had its fires fed for days at a time in order to burn the raw substance into a fine powder in the first process known as calcification. This was to remove the impurities and to facilitate its thermal decomposition. The next step in the process was that of dissolution. The chemical process of dissolution was to take the ashes from calcification and dissolve them in water. That is, to blend them into the universal solvent. This solution was further diluted into distilled and purified water that had been prepared ahead of time for the process of separation. Separation is the third phase in alchemical transformation. This is the part of the process that I attempted to isolate the components of the dissolution substance in order to discard the unworthy material. In symbolic terms, we're attempting to separate the solution into the red king and the white queen in order to recombine them into what would eventually be termed the alchemical marriage. The sun and moon separated to be recombined as described in the Emerald Tablet of Hermes Trismegistus. The separation process did not work as planned. However, I'm not surprised. There are a couple of reasons. One is we did not do the inner work, the change from within to transmuting the inner self to the higher self, which is supposed to happen parallel to the physical substance being transmuted to the next stage. The second thing we're missing is perhaps the most important, the counterpart to the male alchemist, the soror mystica. The feminine alchemist, the partner, the equal, the person who, with the male alchemist, creates the conjunction and pure philosopher's stone. In order to expedite the internal transformation of our soror mystica, we will use the occult science of mesmerism. There is a magnetic force in all living beings, and the mesmerist is able to use this force to subdue and lull to sleep the worldly, less perfect part of a person in order that their higher self an almost angelic aspect might come to the surface during the process of mesmerism. This is what we will seek to raise to the surface, to bring forth in Soror Mystica. And in this way, according to the principles of sympathetic magic, like produces like. Therefore, our dissolution substance should follow along in transformation in tandem with the inner transmutation of our Soror Mystica. Now that our dissolution substance has been energized with the magnetic energy of Soror Mystica, we'll use the Book of Thoth, known as the Tarot deck, to get a reading of the vibration change, the psychical energy transformation, a snapshot of the synchronicity. The first card, the Magician. What is above is like what is below, the card of transformation. Good sign. The Sun, representing positive growth and change, also indicative of the Red King, the Red Mercury. And the Three of Cups, overflowing abundance. These three cards can be taken together to indicate the transformative process has been a success in the dissolution substance. The second step of the separation process was quite the success, as it appeared to have divided the dissolution substance into the Red King and the White Queen, thereby giving us the mercurial substance in which we can use for the next step in the transmutation alchemical process. The red mercury will then be used in the process of conjunction. For conjunction, we'll use the Bain Marie, as developed by the first known alchemist, Marie the Prophetess. And then the stage of fermentation. For fermentation, I've added powdered antimony, often used by Sir Isaac Newton. And then back to the alchemy furnace, stoking the fires for distillation. In distillation, we'll use the mixture that we have taken through all the processes and further refine it to make it more and more pure. This is the aim of the transmutation process, that is, to move the imperfect to a more pure version of perfection. So we'll take the common metal found in these coins and add it to our substance in the final phase of coagulation to attempt to carry these metals forth into the perfection of gold. We have the alchemical fires burning, red hot, and for the crucible, I decided to start off with copper. Copper is known as the lover of all metal because it so easily combines with others. The fires burnt for days with a crucible inside. And after the crucible was cooled, out came the evolved metal. Congealed with the substance, it appeared to be a success. So I sent my samples off to a professional lab to determine if it was gold, and if so, how pure is it? I received word back that it was some of the purest gold that they had encountered. However, the lab claims to have shipped it back to me with tracking. The package never arrived, and the shipping company claims they never received a package for shipping. Nothing I could do. I did try to replicate the experiment, but to no avail. But I retained the most valuable piece of the entire experiment, that which is more valuable than gold, that which is well beyond the Philosopher's Stone, beyond any riches known to man, jewels, diamond, ridiculous wealth. I have retained the love of my soror mystica.